Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Lives in blood. He's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big day. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find the Spider-Man.
The custom of storytelling is old as civilization. The history of the comics begins in the ancient Egypt, when this culture represented stories in hieroglyphics. This may be found in different buildings as the pyramids of Giza, Jafru, Khafre, and Mekor. However, the United States of America was the country that made the comics became popular for the massive reproduction. These representations were used like a strategy to attract new audiences to the newspapers, so the stories involving everyday habits of the American population. In this way, in 1939, born Marvel Comics with the name of Timely Publications, and then in 1962, born Spider-Man, one of the most famous comics that reflect some of the American values. Spider-Man has been a popular icon recognized for his comic books, TV series, video games, and movies. This superhero was created by the right editor Stan Lee and the right artist Steve Ditko as a request from the director of Marvel Comics after the success of other comic books like Fantastic Four or Hulk, and his story was designed specially for teens that could be identified with the character.
What do you think about Spider-Man caught on? Do you think it was really just the I can relate to this guy aspect of it?
I think there were a lot of reasons. I think perhaps the main reason was the I can relate to him. Because he was shy, he wasn't that successful with girls, he had to worry about his family. I think most teenagers reading it thought to themselves, hey, that could be me, you know. So there certainly was that identification.
Right.
But beyond that, I think, I must say truthfully, I think Steve and I came up with some great stories and some great villains.
Right.
You know, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, the Sandman, and everything worked. And visually, the
Very
story
striking
was
character,
great.
too.
Because the way Steve would have him crawling on walls and swinging on webs, and it just, everything came together perfectly.
One of the American values that Spider-Man represents is the change as something positive. This is visible in some parts of the story of the superhero. For example, in his begins, the fact of having been bitten by a spider never represented as danger for Peter Parker, a young 15 years old. Changing habits of this young man was taken as a good thing because he saw it as an opportunity to help the Manhattan neighborhood. Other important aspect in terms of change was the costume change that appears in the third movie as a consequence of a strange alien substance. The protagonist never feared the dangerous consequences this might involve, however, assumed that this changed positively with a good attitude and no matter the opinion of the people around him. The second American value, individualism and privacy, is a consequence of being a superhero. The superhero's secret life is a need that Peter Parker should have in order to preserve his life and the security of his family and friends. In this way, the protagonist leads a double life as Peter as a Spider-Man, and his identity is only disclosed to those close to him on very few occasions. As a result, Spider-Man is known for being one of the most individualistic superheroes. Throughout his life have been very few colleagues who have helped him to fight crime. As a conclusion, we can say that superheroes like Spider-Man exemplify the customs and values of American society. Comics have been a part of American popular culture. The most representative customs of the American people have been involved in these stories so that the audience can identify with them.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. This is my gift, my curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.